Hi, and welcome to my week 3 check-in of The Artist's Way, a book by Julia Cameron about unblocking your creative skills through several helpful sentiments and exercises for artists and non-artists alike. My name is Grace, and recently I decided to quit my corporate job and pursue the things that I really care about, including oil painting, digital art, writing, and getting more involved in my community. This week I've decided to script the video beforehand, which is why you're going to see my eyes darting back and forth a little bit. The previous 2 weeks I pretty much decided to just sit down and wing it, which I think went pretty well for week 1, but week 2 I just yapped and yapped and yapped, and I ended up spending way too long editing the video. I would rather use that time to create instead, so I'm going to try this and switching up the strategy and just kind of see what works best for me. And with that, let's get into my check-in and some takeaways from week 3. Before I get into the tasks, I will say that I did draw a wildlife photographer as my imaginary life of the week. This did not, unfortunately, result in a lot of wildlife photography because it's very cold outside and I struggled to feel inspired with the current environment for several reasons. It's just too cold, and instead I decided to finally comb through all of my Google photos from like 10, 11 years in the past and compiled them into a folder that I can use for references, and I will probably use them as transitions in this video, so let me know if you have a favorite. So the first check-in item, just like last week, is how many days did you do your morning pages? My answer is 7 out of 7, finally. I still love them, and I feel like they're helping me love myself more. Even though they're still unstructured and stream of consciousness, overall I get the sense that they're becoming more and more coherent and insightful. I think that's both because my writing is improving and just because I'm giving myself more grace to write freely than I ever have before. I'm doing a lot less real-time editing, which feels amazing. It's such a relief, honestly, because that's something I did way too much in the past. I had a difficult week this week, so the morning pages were particularly helpful, even if they weren't always fun to write in the moment. I've pretty much switched entirely over to typing them because it's just so much faster and efficient in the sense that it's better for my brain drain, not necessarily with the intention of getting them done as quickly as possible. I just feel like with typing, I can get several thoughts out quickly before they have a chance to swim back upstream, and writing them by hand feels kind of more like a slow trickle, like turning the faucet on less than halfway. And while it feels more meditative, it opens me up to more distractions, and my wrist will always try to compensate for this by writing faster, and I end up putting a strain on it. So that's been my takeaway from the morning pages so far. The second check-in question is, did you do your artist date? And what did you do? How did it feel? I have to confess I did not do my artist date this week, and for that I am sorry, both to myself and anyone hoping to see footage from that in this week's video. As I mentioned before, I faced some emotional challenges this week and setbacks that kind of threw a wrench into my plans and really tested my resilience. And I'll go into that more here shortly. I still have an opportunity to take some time to myself tomorrow, so I will probably go to the library or a coffee shop before I edit this video. It's possible I will have some footage of that to put here, but no promises. The third check-in item is, did you experience any synchronicity this week? And if so, what was it? And yes, it seems to be happening every week. I was just telling my boyfriend on Thursday that I'd like to go to a local art museum at some point for my artist date one week, and then another time with him on a date together. And the next day I get an email about a really big free event that they're doing, including live music, which is something from the list of things that I love from week 1 or 2. And so I'll try to take some videos of that while we're there today and put them here when I'm editing tomorrow. Again. The fourth and final check-in item from this week is, were there any other issues this week you consider significant to your recovery, and describe them. This week I am still learning to use my time purposefully. I had every intention of doing my artist date this week on Friday, but I got stuck in my emotions and let time get away from me as I was trying to gear up to go do it. And by not recognizing and committing to what I needed in the moment, which was rest, I ended up losing even more time and kind of getting stuck in what I'm calling the frozen place. Rest is necessary, and I need to begin asking myself if I'm truly resting or if I'm just numbing out by watching TikToks and scrolling on my phone. So that's been my takeaway for that check-in piece this week. And now I want to take a minute to kind of go into a little more detail about what I learned from this chapter in particular. This week did not turn out the way I expected. In week 2, I experienced some things that made me feel like a kid again. And in week 3, this week, I experienced a similar theme, but on the more negative side of things. I'm still coming to understand that I will always have setbacks like this to face, and they are not always my fault, but it is up to me to compartmentalize them and find healthy coping mechanisms that will help me get back on the horse. I hate that expression, get back on track. There we go. In week 3, I really like how Julia talks about anger and how it is meant to fuel us. Despair is what should be avoided, and I have to admit I have trouble climbing out of that emotion at times, including this week. Despair is still stagnant and oddly comfortable to stay in. It is safe in its own way and can seem to do little to disrupt other people's lives. Anger, on the other hand, is unpredictable, impulsive, and powerful. Its expression is much more noticeable to the people around us, and with this comes risk, especially in childhood when you may not necessarily have control over your environment or the people in it. When you come from that experience, it is hard to learn how to use anger as fuel when you've been discouraged from acting on it or even feeling it. We want to go back to coasting on despair, we as in me, and using anger feels uncomfortable and unsafe. I would like to use some kind of electric versus fossil fuel analogy here, but I don't think it really translates very well because despair doesn't actually even get you anywhere at all. Sadness and other despair adjacent emotions do have their place, and I don't think we should feel guilty about needing to sink in and feel them when appropriate. It's important to give ourselves time to heal and a safe space to retreat to when we've been hurt. But pretty soon a year or more has gone by, and we find we haven't made any progress towards our goals. In fact, suddenly we see the goalpost has moved even further away, and then the cycle of despair continues. For this reason, I am committed to accept and use my anger productively throughout this journey, letting it fuel my ambition and push me forward when obstacles inevitably arise. And finally, since it was a rough week, I wanted to take a minute and kind of acknowledge some small wins that I've been noticing slowly. I think it's good to record the subtle positive changes that we're seeing in ourselves anytime that we're starting a new journey. Number 1 is I have to walk up this really steep hill. Number 1 is I have to walk up this really steep hill with a intense incline to get to my fitness center. Oh my God. When I quit my job and started The Artist's Way, I started going to the gym regularly, and this walk would make my legs burn so much from going up that hill, and now, 3 weeks later, it's a piece of cake, and I barely even notice it. Number 2, in a similar vein, I've been going to the gym consistently for the first time in a long time, and my scale is not super accurate, and my weight fluctuates a lot, but it would appear that I've lost at least 10 pounds in that time. I feel less bloated, I feel stronger, and all around healthier. And that's just from walking on the treadmill 5-ish days a week, maybe a mile or so. So that feels really good. And number 3, I've completed 3 modules from my color theory course that I started around the same time as I started this course. And from it, I've painted several avocados in different color palettes, and they've turned out really, really cool, and I've really been enjoying that. And I'm going to put a video here showing the different variations in those. I started oil painting a few years ago, but I struggled to do it consistently because my self-education was unstructured and frustrating. The videos I was teaching myself with asked me to paint in layers, and they didn't really teach me very much about values or color relationships. This course, on the other hand, has shown me I don't need to paint in layers, how to mix and choose colors more efficiently, and it has introduced me to so many just little things that have made the act of painting more strategically easy. The course is by Alai Ganuza, and I will show you some of her artwork here and link her YouTube channel in the description. Highly recommend you check her out if you're interested in color theory, oil painting at all. She's just a really cool artist. And just from the few pictures, you can probably see why I chose her to do a color theory course with. All right, in summary, discouraging as this week has been, I am not giving up. I have better coping skills and a better support system than ever before. And most importantly, I'm really beginning to unlearn shame and find confidence in myself. And nothing will keep me from making art anymore. With all the unprecedented things going on in my country right now, this is my way of taking back control. And to some people that will sound foolish and crazy, but I won't let that stop me either. Thank you for watching. As always, I would appreciate it so much if you left a comment, liked the video, subscribed even. I am so appreciative to the people who've already reached out to me about this series and just said that they're proud of me. Good for you for just doing it and going for it. I really appreciate that because posting can feel a little lonely at times, especially when I'm just starting out and figuring things out. So I am, as always, looking forward to next week and sharing what happens with you. So I will see you then. Bye.